What's up, everyone? I'm James Baney, and I'm here for the last time, maybe probably not the last time, actually, for this show, the Bad Batch reaction show. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm talking full spoilers here, so I don't know what is going to happen at this point. I mean, we've seen episodes 15 and 16, and I don't know. It puts me in a place where I say that absolutely has to be a season 3. They're going to do a season 3. That's just a hang up or a loose thread that they need to tie later into the next season or whatever. It could still be, we could get something at Celebration here, the announcement of season 3, but also potentially if they wanted to do something shorter, they could do like a 2-hour Bad Batch movie for Disney Plus or something, some sort of thing. But this just seems all evident of a season 3. The way this ends is just so... I hate to use the trope, but like it's so Empire Strikes Back, right? It's the bad ending. And it just sets you up for the, like, I would assume third and final season then maybe. I don't know. But it's tricky too, because I mean, I'm jumping right to the end, because it's like they have now Omega not in their possession. So that season has to like either start with them getting her back immediately, and then what do? Or it's like the whole season or part of the season is just trying to get her back. And but I don't know. I like the direction that they're going with this, because I think that what it could lead to is getting Omega and Tech back, and then, or not Tech, sorry. We'll get to Tech. Getting Omega and Crosshair back on the team, which then what I was going to say is gets everybody back together, but we should probably talk about Tech. But look, before I get there, I just want to talk about these 2 episodes in general. This is not the direction I thought this was going to go. I was feeling a little bit stale on the Bad Batch this season, and it wasn't just me. I thought, I was getting this feeling. I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying these episodes, but I feel a little bit like I'm the only one. I know you guys are watching too, but when I say that, I mean, it hasn't been massively wide accepted, even as much as the Return of the Clone Wars, especially towards the end there, the first season of Bad Batch, Rebels, it hasn't really felt like, it felt kind of like Resistance. It felt like, am I the only one watching this, and I know you guys felt that way too. So I was kind of wondering if they were going to move forward with that, but I think it's probably reasonable at some point that they would have said, this is our final season, so enjoy the end of season 2. And they never did that. So we should have probably predicted that there was going to be a season 3, and I'm sure many of you did. But as far as this is not the way it was going to go, I just expected these episodes were going to be about rescuing Crosshair, getting him out of there, seeing how things went, and it just like was not at all. But in a totally fine way. I really did enjoy these 2 episodes for what they were. There were high stakes, high action. It looked beautiful. It kept me on the edge of my seat. We had a major character death. We had a major reveal at the end. We also are left on a cliffhanger, wanting to figure out what's going to happen next. I really can't say much about it other than like, it wasn't the season finale that I thought we were going to get, but it lived up to a season finale, and here I am. I'm saying, wow, good job, Bad Batch. I kind of can't wait for the next season. Let's talk about it. Let's break it down. So we had the summit, right? Very cool to return to Eriadu. People who, read Tarkin or know a lot about Tarkin knows that when Tarkin's involved, Eriadu usually has something to do with it. And in this case, it was really cool to see this like summit. We've seen other major conferences held on Eriadu before, but this particular one was really neat because we walk into the room and we see Tarkin, but we also see a couple other figures that we've seen before. in Star Wars, Clone Wars, and specifically Rogue One. Obviously Krennic, who I was kind of, happy to recognize like almost immediately. I was like, I think they have Krennic in the room there. That's pretty crazy. And then obviously Ramadi is there with Tarkin as well, which we've seen also from Rogue One, which is really interesting. So Rogue One really got a shout out there. This type of stuff where they're in the room and they're talking and they're discussing and you're seeing the bigger plans and you're seeing the connections to the bigger movies or the bigger story. I eat that stuff up. So in this scene, it didn't feel like it was Tarkin just to have Tarkin, although, it was a little bit just to have Tarkin. You could put him in the scene and kind of spell out the plan, but I really like those scenes where they're connecting the dots, so that really hit hard for me. And then, like I was mentioning before, good action as far as the way things were shot, the cinematography of, like, say they're coming in on those like sky cart things. I love that scene. They're jumping off, and there's even like they jump off, and then the stormtrooper like turns around, and then boom, like right in the face. It just like everything about their delivery and how they're moving through just felt super like Metal Gear again. It was that military style thing, which I think Bad Batch really does well. But in this particular episode, it was one of the things that I noticed. I was like, oh man, they're going all out on the way they're shooting these action scenes, and I'm really involved. And that just leads to the other reveal. Who saw Gerrera coming, right? Like, that was completely out of left field. I liked they were leading us down that path of something doesn't feel right. Is there somebody else also infiltrating the base at the same time? Little nuts, but we get to that point where he reveals, and I'm like, okay, this just got real. He's going to blow up the place. His plan sort of makes sense. Their plan sort of makes sense. And I think this is something that Star Wars has been doing a lot, specifically with Saw Gerrera, is like, it's that idea of like, do you just destroy evil completely, or do you work with evil in order to eventually make a bigger impact on taking evil down? Does that kind of make sense? And drawing those lines, especially for Saw Gerrera, is just like, nope, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. And the Bad Batch is saying, hey, we can at least utilize this information and make a bigger dent in them later down the line. I like these angles. I like this discussion. This is sort of like the politics of war, and that's what you want to get out of the Bad Batch, in my opinion. So we got the obvious cliffhanger here at the end of the episode, and I say cliffhanger, but what I really mean is rail car hanger. But no, Tech is hanging here, and I don't know. When this scene was going on, to me, I was like, well, they're obviously not going to kill him. And I felt there was no tension in the scene because I'm like, look, they're trying to make this dramatic. You had the scene with Fee earlier and Tech, and I know what this is all leading to. This is just like setting up their life afterwards so that we feel happy about them when they make it back. But I even see him hanging from the rail car, and he's like, you gotta go, you gotta go. And I'm like, they're not gonna kill him. There was no tension there. And I'm still sort of in that mindset. It's very evident everything they gave us is that Tech is dead. And I'm not sure if at this point we're supposed to accept that or not. He kills himself. The music's great. The moment's great. In the moment itself, when it actually happened, I thought, oh my God. So, whoa, let me take a step back. I'm wrong on this. They're killing off this character. This is nuts. It wasn't until we get to the next episode, Plan 99. Actually, I think this is where it happens, right? It happens in Plan 99. And they go back to Sid's, which, side note, stupid, like terrible mistake. And I get they needed AZ, but oh my gosh, it was so, the plot was just so see-through at that point. I was like, okay, they're back at Sid's. This is bad. They've obviously been setting up Sid not a good contact. and Sid immediately sells them out, which is also weird then because Sid like feels bad after she does it, and I'm like, no, I'm not buying this. You give me one Sid or the other, you know? I could see how she got sour on the gang, and when they show up, she's like, are you freaking kidding me? You've been avoiding all my calls, blah, 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 blah. I'm calling the Empire. Then she feels sad about it. Nah, I don't know. Anyway, that's back and forth on the character. But they get to Sid's, and this is when Hemlock shows up and throws the goggles down and says, this is all I could recover. I'm like, you couldn't, like that's the only thing that survived is his goggles? I'm not buying this. For some reason, I'm just getting the impression that in season 3, it's going to like immediately kick off with that scene again. He's going to blow the rope, and we're going to see him fall, very similar to Gandalf fighting the Balrog. Like, we're going to see that fall down, and he's going to survive that. He's going to get captured, and then you take him away, and that's going to be our lead into season 3, where Tech actually did survive, and not only are we trying to get Crosshair and Omega back, but also Tech involved in that too, and once they do, then you get your entire gang back together. I'm just calling it now. I don't think Tech's dead. That's a bold claim for a person who just watched an episode where they very clearly kill Tech. So I don't know. You guys be the judge of how crazy I'm being right now, but this is my, feelings. Right after watching that episode, I still have this feeling that it's a kid show and you don't really kill them off. However, killing them off and leaving it up to the kids to deal with it for like a year or more, I don't know. Whatever, I guess, I still think Tech is alive. That's my thing. But this is actually the point in the episode after all the stuff with Sid, after they were getting captured. I start like looking at my watch and I'm like, what is going on? They only have like 15 minutes left. Where's all the stuff with Crosshair? They're going to rescue him. They're going to do this. And like, how is this all going to resolve? Because even up to this point, I still felt like I was watching the end of the series, or potentially the end of the series. And I thought, well, they're not going to end on some crazy thing where they didn't even go and visit Crosshair, which actually I think could be a little bit of a contention for some plans. Like, in ways, it felt like that's where this season was going. I think that's because we pitched that at the end of season 1. Oh, we're going to go and we're going to rescue Crosshair. We're going to somehow get him back. He's going to have this big change. But if you really look back at this season had like 2 episodes with Crosshair. There's like one where it shows he's like, thinking about changing his mind, and then they have an episode where he changes his mind. And then other than that, it's been like little tidbits here and there of like just kind of maybe quickly catching up with him, just getting a little bit of detail on the situation. He really was not in this season at all, yet I still, as a fan, was sitting there thinking this finale was going to end with some resolution on his character, whether he's back or whether he dies or something like that. But they didn't even touch on it. It didn't have anything to do with that. It had to do with Hemlock trying to move forward with his plan, needing to get Omega, getting Omega, bringing her back to the base, and leaving the rest of the Bad Batch completely with nothing. One of their guys dead. And then one of their guys gone, right? 2 of their guys gone, if you want to consider that Crosshair's there as well. And I think the big reveal that we got here also too is that the character Amiri Carr, which to me, I never thought would have been a clone. And I think that's probably because she's female, right? Or we've been sort of told that maybe Omega is special in some way because she's female, she's the only female clone. But seeing now that this other character is also a clone, maybe the first generation or something, like, how does she fit in with Lama Su and Nala Se? It's interesting, and it's a good cliffhanger. It really is. This also ties back to my thing where she specifically now says sister. So it's like, okay, so Amiri and Omega are definitely sisters. Can we please get the confirmation I guess season 3 now is that Boba is also a brother. I think this seems to constantly get overlooked, that Boba Fett, Book of Boba Fett, the character that's in The Mandalorian, you know, all that, has now 2 sisters that are out there, and we're not putting that together. Like, how are these two going to connect? They even said at the beginning of season 2, don't expect Boba Fett to show up. Okay, well, that's his family. You know, it's not like they're just clones. And I don't know, maybe Amiri Carr is just a clone. She's not as connected to Jango Fett, Omega, and Boba as we maybe are being alluded to here. But when I see her take off her goggles, get down, and says, "I'm your sister," that doesn't feel like she's just a clone. That feels like she's part of this subgroup of specialized clones that, for whatever reason, have a stronger connection with Jango Fett or have some sort of special feature that makes them unique. I don't know. I'm sold on this season finale as it is. You guys can put stuff in the comments if you were not feeling it, or why maybe I should back off my excitement a little bit for it. That's fair. I'm totally cool to, like, you know, woo. It's kind of how I was like with The Last Jedi. I walked out of that theater and I was like, wow, this was an amazing movie. And then sort of over time, the critique kind of came to, okay, that's a good point. You know what I mean? And it kind of evens out where it should be. It should go the opposite way too. Like, if you hated something, you know what I mean? Okay, let's talk about some of the, okay, maybe it was better than I thought. You know what I mean? You kind of always even out somewhere in the middle. So maybe pull me back a little bit, or maybe just ramp me up and say, I'm 100% right. This is a great season finale. And we're all looking forward to season 3. And with that said, like, yeah, we'll see what we get at Star Wars Celebration, which is coming up at the beginning of April. It's just right around the corner. It's like a week from now. So let's get excited. Potentially season 3. If that happens, whatever it is, I'm most likely going to be back for you guys. I will if they do it. So here's to Bad Batch season 3, or a special, or the conclusion of this story in whatever way Lucasfilm deems the way to do it. I guess that's it, guys. Great episodes. I've had fun this season. It's been awesome. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, commenting, doing everything you have to support the show, sharing episodes on your own social media, and letting everybody know about the Resistance broadcast in general. It means a lot. It's been so much fun. Thank you guys for tuning in and everything. Until Bad Batch Season 3, I've been James, and I'll see you later.